Good time zone, everybody, and welcome back. It is Tuesday, and that means it is Dungeons and Dragons time here on Horde of Tales. My name is Marcus. I am also known as the Individual, and today, for the start of Chapter 5, I am joined again by the full force, the full squad, the amazing quartet of people that we have here in this adventure, which I would quickly like to introduce to you once again. We have joining us Sariel, we have joining us Ida, we have joining us Austin, and of course, we have joining us Caro. Good time zone to all of you. How are all of you doing on this fine day?
That was a quick introduction. I'm proud of you, Marcus.
That was surprising.
Sometimes I'm not over dramatic and overly long, so thank you.
I hope you can hear me okay. I haven't checked the audio today, so...
You sound perfect.
Alright, good.
Doing good? Like the hype? What a nice hype. Thank you for
Yeah.
hype.
Hype train.
I mean, there's lots of things to be hyped out about, hyped for. We get to start a new adventure. We're all together, which doesn't happen, I think, always for new adventures and chapters. We got nominated for the Gamers Awards. It's nice weather, it rained, the drought finally broke a little bit.
Wait, what was that? What was that? What you mumbled in between there? Would you care to repeat that, Ida?
That we happen to receive a nomination from the Gamers Award for Best Stream Team of the Year, and that's very flattering and kind.
What up?
Amazing.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is indeed
Let's go.
so cool. And I think we're going to give a little bit of extra information on links later in the stream about this.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that we got the nomination. So thanks
Yeah,
for
when they wrote us on our Twitter, it said like, so, oh yeah, actually you were nominated. How can we get everything to you? It's like, yeah, fucking shit, what's going on?
She did not actually type this, thank goodness.
Kara just responds with like, fucking shit, what's going on? No.
Yeah,
This is
absolutely.
a
I'm
mistake.
writing
What?
everyone who has something important for us, like, so, yeah, what the hell? What's this trash showing up?
That's Caro's love language.
Yeah, I am.
It's being aggressively grateful and confused at the same time.
True. Grateful and confused.
Aggressively grateful, and I love that. That's a thing now.
Perfect. Amazing. Yeah, that's a good way. That is some really great news, and we're going to share some more links about it later in the stream as well. But it's also, of course, good news to have the full team here for the kickoff of our next chapter. I have been in the week that we were not playing, I have been preparing some stuff, and there have been people who sent me messages about stuff, and I have been using that info to prepare some stuff, and slowly, sometimes the DM creative process is like a little bit like cooking, but sometimes you don't have all the ingredients at the same time, but slowly you gather them, and then you put them into this stew that becomes a session and a campaign. And now I'm hungry. I'm hungry for adventure. And I hope that we can get a good feasting of adventure today. And I'm going to stop this matter for now because I don't know where it's going.
Something broke inside of me.
Perfect.
Clipping.
Before we head off in today's session, first of all, welcome once again to Horde of Tales, where you are currently. We are a Twitch channel, but we are also a group of streamers who love TTRPGs. And on Tuesdays, we wear pink. I mean, we play Dungeons and Dragons. And we play specifically on Tuesdays the Convergence Manifesto, our Eberron campaign set in Eberron, using D&D 5th edition rules. And we are playing the Convergence Manifesto, which is an adventure series created by Across Eberron. We kick off Chapter 5 today, and Chapter 5 has the name perfect timing. And if you enjoy what you see here and you want to run these adventures yourself, you can check them out at crosseberron.com. We also, until recently, played on Astral VTT. Unfortunately, that platform is no longer available. I want to use this chance to thank everyone who ran and made Astral VTT for offering a great platform and a very intuitive space. I've been using many VTTs in my time of GMing, and I think Astral had a good core at it, and we have made some good use of it here. So thank you very much for offering that service. We will continue our adventures on the virtual tabletop of Foundry virtual tabletop, which you're going to see in action today or in future sessions. If I'm saying action today, it sounds like I have already a battle map or something prepared. I'm going to kick it off with like rolling initiative. Who knows? I'm talking too much. So we play on Foundry VTT, and the overlays here on our stream are created by Caro, and the character artwork that you see on our overlays and on the tokens is created by Caro and Serial together. The music you hear is by Dark Fantasy Studios. And last but not least, if you have the channel points and if you spot a cat on screen, you can give cat vantage. How it works, you spot a cat on one of the player's screens, you can spend your channel points and give one of the other players cat vantage. If you give them cat vantage, you're going to see an adorable cat, something like this, something that's popping up now with everyone, popping up next to their, well, next to their face. But keep in mind, cat vantage can only be one dose per player, and the player can spend the cat vantage whenever they want to get advantage on their next roll. So before you give cat vantage, check out who has a cute little cat already on their screen, so you don't give cat vantage to someone who might already have it. Also, should all these players have cat vantage, you can always give cat vantage to the GM. It's an option, just so you know.
Well, yeah, sometimes it doesn't work. It's a bit iffy. I'd rather give it to the players. It's like 100% success otherwise.
Right. Okay. Got that. Understood. With that being said, I think we're through our opening rituals. And the last thing remaining before we start is rolling our intro. And we'll be right back after a short little intro. Hang in there. Into the actual game, and we are back indeed. Well, last time we were here, we finished our adventures with our adventurers getting back to Sterngate, accompanied by an old acquaintance, Aurea Ocula Urcoran. Our adventurers of the Cliffs of Adventures Guild made it back to Sharn eventually, the city of towers, the metropolis of the continent. And they had 8 days of wonderful, well, downtime? Relaxation? A chance to reflect on recent events? Or maybe a chance to already ponder their next move? Whatever it is our adventurers have done in this time, we might find out. But what we know for now is that they are together in a place that likes to claim it serves the best drinks of Sharn, that says that bar fights are part of the entertainment you pay for with every drink, and who has a series of very intimidating but maybe also lovable ogre bouncers at the front door. We find ourselves back in the Drunken Dragon, it is a very busy night here. There is a line outside of the door, and the ogre bouncers are very critical with who goes in, and sometimes have to throw out someone who got a little bit too rowdy. We find ourselves with our adventurers who are already in there. Our adventurers who have gotten the table in this loud environment surrounded by dozens and dozens of people. And before we zoom in on your table, I would like every one of you to just roll me a d6, please.
Okay. 3.
Same.
6.
6? Oh, and I see a 1 from Dython there.
That's obviously the best one.
Absolutely. Dython, you sit at your seat at the table while you and your companions are in conversation. Someone bumps into you. A flagon of ale is dropped all over you, and you are soaked and covered in dark ale as this, there's this orc individual who was carrying 4 flagons of ale and standing there like, apologize. And
Sorry.
he looks he looks at you with your
Sure, Dython.
magnificent appearance. My apologies.
Dython just stands up, full, straight backed, looking at this person. I do believe you're going to buy my next drink, yes? As a apology.
And he looks at, like, in one of his hands, he's still holding 2 flagons, which are still mostly filled. And he just puts both of those on the table.
Just a pat on the shoulder. Good call, good call.
Enjoy your evening.
You
And
too.
he wanders off. And the rest of you, each of you is also at the table. You see Dython just making sure the table got 2 free flagons of ale here. But it's not just the 4 of you who are here. There is also a small familiar old friend of yours here, Tresca, has decided to also have a seat here and just catch up a little bit with you, to have a bit of a chat. And she's seated in between the lot of you. She has a cup for herself in front of her, and she says, wait, so you went to that island because someone else crashed their airship there? Okay. And then you got on that island, and it was really cold there as well. Okay. And there was a tower there.
Yes, and as Tresca is describing this, using shaped water, I'm just going to like drift off these little beer droplets from Dython's like fur mane, and these little droplets like shape like a little airship, like floaty, like a bubble, and their droplets also shape like a little blubbering tower. I mean, just it's cold, I freeze some of them, and they fall like little beer flurries.
Beer flurries. Yes.
Oh, excellent.
Great underlining for this story that Tresca is like putting together, as she's basically just summarizing to herself like the adventures you were having. And then at one point when she's just going through the part where you were climbing up a frozen tower with some strange entity speaking to you, fighting an ooze and stuff like that, she eventually comes to the conclusion of that and says, huh, how much did you get paid for all of that?
Not enough.
Yeah, I
It's
think
never
so.
enough.
That's not to be disclosed. Sorry.
Huh. Fascinating.
Are you asking because, you're waiting until we're coming the next time over to you to ask for some special things?
Well, I mean, you know that I do deliver quality Delphine. I mean, you are probably a very happy customer, aren't you?
Do I look unhappy?
It's sometimes hard to tell with you.
It's just her face.
Well, I wouldn't mind if sometimes you think, hey, I need some kind of magical equipment. You know where my forge is, and Stoke is always looking for doing some extra work, especially if I tell him it's for you.
That really is
But-
very, very kind of you to offer. We have, at least I have good memories of our encounter, so I'm sure we'd be happy to contact you if we need your services.
Well, I mean, I'm not here to. I'm not here to promote my services. I'm here to have a good evening with some old acquaintances, and I'm just really happy that all of you are still in one piece. Tell me, what's on your platter now? What's next for this quartet of yours? Anything interesting coming on there?
I don't know. I was quite busy these past few days. I was chasing pigeons. I drew a hopscotch game on a sidewalk. And then I went into a bookshop and I turned all the books upside down.
You turned all the books upside down.
Yes.
What did you do that for?
Research.
Uh-huh.
So you see, very busy.
Very, very busy. The rest of you, anything you got planned? Anything you're looking forward to?
It's a good question. I think it's something we've been discussing recently of where our next move might be.
We might be changing patrons, if that makes sense. Still continuing on the same line of work and more or less same quest altogether. I believe we still have to discuss it. Like, look around the people on the table again. It has become a bit more complicated than just simple do work and get paid.
So the payment was that bad?
No, I would say moral dilemmas have.
To be fair, most of the group has more sense of morals than other parts of the group.
I feel insulted. Me? Morals? Ugh.
I didn't said any names.
Tresca leans a little bit forward with her small body, leans a bit closer as if she's trying to bring people into a huddle, like if she's going to say something secret. So a new patron. Any big shot here in the city? Did you, get hired by one of the Dragon Mart houses or something? Is there, any local politician you're gonna work for? Did you find out you're doing all of this for some kind of shadowy organization? A continent-spanning criminal network, and you're now in too deep? And me asking you this could endanger all of us?
Yes,
I wished it would be that.
it's actually all secretly snakes. Everything.
Snake.
Just a bunch of snakes. That person you see over there, they're just a bunch of snakes in a coat.
And you point over to a person, and you actually point over to that one orc that bumped into you, who's now standing in a corner, and he's talking to a bugbear friend, and the moment you point over, the turns are over, and you heard a bugbear saying like, "Yo, Rick, do that thing you do!" And the orc goes, "Oh, wait, I got it. Boom, chick, boom, boom, chick, boom, chick, boom, boom, chick." And you see Tresca looking there.
That's their
Snake.
secret. That's their secret call right there.
Late but acceptable.
Uh-huh.
I-
You see
Minor illusion. There's sound of a little rattle. It's like sounds in the corner of the room.
I
Did
see.
I miss a memo? I don't believe. What's this? There's some
It's
crucial
just-
information I also forgot.
No, it's just go along with it. It's fine.
Sometimes I wished we could just intoxicate you. So that you don't see everything like that tight like you do.
Sometimes I wish that as well. Miss Sophie, sometimes I do.
Tresca, does Stoke ever get intoxicated?
Well, no, but he does know how to party. He does like to go with the other forge workers out for a few drinks. Like, he doesn't drink, but he really knows how to be part of a party. Oh, and he can also tell some very raunchy jokes.
Interesting.
Maybe Rebus should spend more time with him.
Well,
Well,
I
As much
do
as
have...
Stoke is, that's Stoke. It's not Rebus.
Yeah, true. But maybe, learning process it.
I think Rebus is great the way they are. I mean, some people think that I'm also sometimes a little bit too chatty or something. I don't want to change that about myself.
You're one of the few people
Is it a problem?
I don't get easily annoyed by.
Then you haven't spent enough time with me yet.
Maybe not.
Logically, actually makes sense. Adding up the minutes we've spent together. Anyway, is it a problem that I am like I am? Hopefully I haven't been endangering our mission. Or, I mean, I obviously have fairly new processing paths, so I could understand if I need a bit of work, but you haven't mentioned it before, so.
Who said that you ever endangered our missions?
Well, I was just wondering, since you want me to change them.
No, I didn't say it about changing. It's about more experiences. You can only grow so much as a person if you're always around the same people.
That makes sense. So,
I mean, if you think it would be beneficial, if you give me a heads up before you leave, maybe I can ask Stoke if he wants to come along on your next adventure. He's been thinking about seeing a little bit outside of the city.
That's very kind of you to offer, but we're a little full, and we fall off cliffs often.
Cliffs.
Airships.
I think
Basically everything that is way too far away from the ground.
Precipices, bridges.
Towers.
I said airships, right? Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Okay, excuse, pardon me.
imaginary cliffs that may or may not actually be there.
Oh, that's a differentiation. Yes.
Plus, I believe that good socialization could happen in a more off-work kind of environment where, we could have a conversation without the pressure of something we
Conclusions. We jump to conclusions a lot.
Conclusions. All right. Well, all right. So I learned about your adventures. You're telling me that you're now going to work for a patron that secretly is snake, or that everything is basically snakes. And what I gather from this kind of tall tale you're giving me, you basically probably don't know exactly what you're going to do next with that next new patron of yours.
Well,
No.
well, assuming it's not the same thing, we've yet to visit a volcano, a desert.
No, we actually don't need the volcano anymore. I mean, we have been at Trescos.
True, a desert. I guess it's sort of a warmer tropical climate, which I understand there is a bit more to the south. A marsh filled with poisonous vapors.
It's quite a checklist. Well, and at that point, when Tresca is about to go into her next sentence, could all of you give me a quick perception check, please?
Sure.
Eight. Nada.
8.
12.
12.
10.
10.
21.
21, he said carefully.
I like having advantage on this.
Dython, while you're seated at the table, still a little bit of that ale that was spilled on you all over you. You look around, and you do notice that while most of the tables around you are still very busy, and there's the typical tavern vibe in the Drunken Dragon, towards the direction of the entrance, you see that the crowd is starting to split, to move aside for something or someone. And eventually the people all around you at other tables also, like, some of them lean over to see what's happening. People standing at the bar turn around to take a look at whatever's coming. And at one point, you, Daithun, are the first one to spot that a very standard plain-looking warforged with no face, but just a metal plate on their face, walks through the crowd and is just heading straight to your table.
We recognize. Oh well, rather Dyson miss.
We have company, I think. I'm assuming we know that this is Lady Corn, one of her Warforged.
All of you, once pointed out by Daithun, will recognize that this is one of her Warforged that is approaching the table, and at this point, with heavy steps, stands next to the table and looks at all of you. And then you hear this Warforged speak for the first time. You only saw them silent and just guarding. And there's a very low voice with a slight metallic ring coming out of their throat. Lady Aurea invites you to a conversation with her and Lord Nigel Farias. Do you accept this invitation?
I believe the gesture above in the ground here is.
Yes, we accept.
I have a positive response from 2 of the 4 invited individuals. What is the response of the remaining 2 individuals?
Yes, what is that?
Does anyone
response?
else feels rather followed by now?
Always.
I would gladly join, yes. I think it should be most enlightening.
Yeah, I tag along.
Very well. Lady Aurea has a sky coach waiting for you outside. I shall prepare the
goodness.
vehicle. Please do not linger too long, but feel free to finish your drinks and end any necessary social interaction. The Warforged just turns around and lumbers back away from the table as
So-
people look after it.
We're all definitely gonna sit here for like 20 more minutes, right? Wait for that thing to come back. Yeah,
Make
no.
it 1 hour, at least. Please, I beg you.
I mean, like, you think it'll come back, or you think it'll just like just wait there forever for us?
Tresca looks at all of you. Well, that's certainly one way to hand an invitation over. It's a very direct fellow.
Somehow the most direct they've been. Usually, them or their patron is usually just like waiting for us to eventually show up somewhere. It's been the case.
I mean, which is the case right now.
You know, actually, yes.
Is this then the new patron you were talking about?
To be decided.
A friend of them, at least.
Huh.
I'm all for making new friends.
That Warforged said something about a Lady Aurea.
Yes. Very loudly, publicly stated in a crowded place, yes.
Does that ladyship come with a last name by any chance?
It does.
Did you take a good look at that Warforged, Tresca?
Oh, absolutely. The craftsmanship was excellent. Very
Is
more
there-
like one of the more original designs that was created for Warforged, but then refined in many parts.
Based on your cursory look, and if perhaps we linger here for you to take a look out the window, if there's anything else you can share about them just at a glance, capabilities, potential weaknesses, make, creator, I'd be happy to hear that. You know,
Weaknesses. Fire.
knowledge.
Well, I would need a little bit more than a cursory glance to give you most of that information, but if I...
Oh, all right. And Tresca will hear in her head, "One moment." And as I reach out and touch her on the shoulder, she's invisible. And I continue saying in her head, "Go. This'll be fun."
An invisible figure eventually shuffles by you. Some of you still sense like Tresca like shuffling by you as she gets off the table. And
Dythane knows where she is for 10 feet, and then it's gone.
you sense like you sense her small feet like stepping at the edge, and then you have no clue where she went. You join the mass of people who can no longer see the invisible Tresca, who is now probably taking a chance at taking a good look at a Warforged.
Yep.
While the 4 of you are still at the table, said Warforged is waiting for you outside, though they have mentioned that you should finish up any kind of interactions you're having here.
It takes a while.
How long are you going to make that Warforged wait?
Oh, invisibility's an hour, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Kidding. I'm kidding.
No,
Yes.
this rain, this might not have been the. I am curious about them, but this feels like a breach of, what's the word? Confidence. Do we want Aurea as our enemy?
Excuse me?
Hopefully this won't put Tresca in any danger. I mean, I assume some higher, nobility people might have the ability to tell if someone invisible is around them, and they might wonder why they are invisible around them. And I don't think we should make her wait anyway. It was a polite thing to say, to have us finish up our business, but it is expected to do with expediency.
One moment, please. Tresca! In my head. Everything alright?
What's the range again on your...
I leveled up, actually. Maybe it went up. That'd be
To be-
nice.
To be fair, it sounded like a receptionist. 1 moment, please. Hold
3
on.
miles.
Oh, 3 miles. Perfect. And you don't need line of sight or anything.
Nope, I set it up before I made her invisible.
Gotcha. You send out this friendly Tresca to Tresca, and you hear back, well, I must say, you're being picked up in a very beautiful sky coach.
The Warforged?
Right, the Warforged. Also, interesting model, as mentioned.
I know it's interesting. What else do your keen, experienced, talented mechanical eyes tell you?
As I said, this seems to be at least based on a very early model of Warforged produced by House Cannith. A certain type of model that was early on in the war already phased out. As far as I heard, some kind of, well, production issues in there, maybe a resource matter or something. Yeah. Look, you know how technicians and artists can be when we're not pleased with a work. We can be very quick at dismissing one version of it to make a new version of it.
So if you were to
And-
dismiss this version, what would be the fastest way to dispose of it?
Disassemble it, but this one certainly isn't disassembled. And also, it had, at least on the outside, seems to have some refinements. Interesting choice to not give it any kind of faceplate, but that might also say you a bit about its employer.
All right. You've been most kind and a wonderful guest for the evening. You have about 41 minutes before the spell wears off. Go have fun with it. We'll see you around.
I'll keep in touch.
Bye. The telepathic link lasts itself 5 minutes, so I guess we're pretty close to the end either way. And I tell my people, like, nothing interesting. I'm done with socializing. I get up from the table. Bye.
David finishes his drink. Is anyone gonna drink the other two? I'm just.
Give it to me.
Oh, there you go. He drinks one, then drinks the other. He hands you one. There were 2 extra ones, right?
Yeah, there were 2 extra.
He hands one to Caro Caro. I
I've been
fell out of
drunk.
it for a moment. Who's
Yes,
Caro?
actually, yes.
Who is?
Kara's there, in
Who
the
are you?
interaction, just sipping from.
No, he
From a
hands it to
bottle of
Delphine.
beer.
Okay.
Classic.
Caro has become part of Eberron canon now.
Oh my goodness. Hands it to Delphine. There you go.
Thank you. Oh, well.
We leave. he gets up and follows right.
Gotcha.
So we are going.
I mean, we said we will go, so...
Dyson, like, over his shoulder, just kind of yells back, "Come on, Delphine. A little social interaction won't kill you."
Oh, it might. Or the other person, depending.
Just shoot first.
No, don't shoot anybody. I continue walking towards them.
Yeah, I follow
towards
last.
the airship.
All right.
Rain is inside the carriage, like man spreading across like a whole seat.
Rain, before you get to the carriage, you are the first one to leave, while the rest of the party is a few steps behind you. You get out of the Drunken Dragon, out of the exit, past the waiting line of people that are in front of it, and as you
Can
walk
I
out, you can...
can I high five the Orger body bouncer?
Absolutely. Like, you go out and, like, there's a very large ogre hand coming a bit down to your level to high five there, and he just goes, "See you later, Rain." And you hear
Hi
someone...
to the wife.
She says hi as well. And you see that as you go out, there's someone standing right in front of the ogre. Says, "Yeah, see, there's someone coming out. I can go in now." "No, you can't." And you see already the Sky Coach. And to maybe elaborate a little bit what a Sky Coach is, you have already seen Lady Aurea's hovering coach that she uses to travel wherever she wants to go. Basically, this carriage that does not require wheels, that has these floating magic keeping it aloft. And this Sky Coach seems to be a very similar model, but it is a little bit further up from the ground. And one of the doors to it is open, and there's a little set of stairs that are folded out of it so that you can easily enter it. Next to this magnificent piece of, I would say in color, like mahogany wood carriage that flows, that floats, you see the Warforged standing there, and around the carriage are a lot of very curious gawkers and people who just want to take a look at this piece of magical technology. And whenever one of these gets a little bit too close, the Warforged like immediately snaps their head towards them, and you can hear the sound going, "Please remove yourself from the vehicle." And when someone gets another step closer, and this is something that you see, Rain, as you approach, you see springing forth from the lower arm of the Warforged is this red glowing blade that just springs out of their arm. And they say again, "Please refrain from getting closer to the vehicle." And then those people step back a little bit. And the Warforged sees you. "You are invited on this ride. Please
I
enter
know.
the vehicle."
All right. Good night, everyone.
Do you see someone like...
To the curious people gawking around.
One of the people in the curious crowd goes like, "Oh man, I wish that was me." And as Rain enters the carriage, the rest of the party, you exit the Drunken Dragon, and you see Rain just quickly like waving at people before she steps into the vehicle, and you can also approach and enter if you so wish to.
I mean, what are our options here?
I think just kind of overlooks the Sky Carriage for a minute before. You think, like, they have anything like fancy here? Like, or like, is this as fancy as it gets? It's like I feel like every time we see something, it's like an escalation of the last thing.
I mean, there might be others that are kind of similar.
I don't know why they would use the most fancy-looking machine to pick us up. We're... Excuse me, but I don't think we're that important to Lady Aurea.
You think they have
Probably
a sky, like a sky ship that's like this fancy?
You see Rain's head pop out of the carriage. Adventure happens to those who take action, not stand around and discuss every single thing.
To be fair, Dive, airships are on a different level of
Yeah, they're like way up there.
expensive. And you need kind of like more special people to, you know, to even have them being usable.
Hey, Warforged, I don't think they want to come along.
I'm coming.
They have confirmed the invitation positively. While they are lingering unnecessarily long, I will wait until they enter the vehicle.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that.
Well, now that I'll get on. Titan gets on.
I want this one.
Once all of you are in the vehicle, the Warforged closes the door behind you, and the Warforged himself does not get into the seating area with you. They are going to sit up front, in the front of the Sky Coach. And this vehicle also has nothing pulling it, no kind of animals that will pull it through the skies of Sharn. It is further elevated by whatever magic is imbued into this vehicle. And whoever made the interior of the vehicle certainly also was a magician when it came to interior design. A beautiful combination of wooden elements and upholstered seating, silk covers and drapes give more than enough space for the four of you. You could have easily fit another 2 people in here and still would have enough area to stretch your legs. As you notice the weight shifting a bit as the Sky Coach takes up into the sky. And through the windows, you can see that you are passing by buildings and spires of Sharn as you're ascending upwards, which does mean that you do go on your way to one of the higher parts of the city. And to maybe elaborate that, show you a little bit, you are currently more like in the middle city area of the of Sharn, and over the coming half hour of flight upwards, you soar up towards the upper city areas where you can already notice that the architecture and buildings become a bit more stylish, elegant, and new. Most of the houses here have more of these small towers and parapets on them. The stone with which they're built is newer and well worked, and even some of the abodes that you fly by in your Sky Coach even have small little gardens to them. A rarity in Sharn. The walkways that connect the upper city living areas are also better kept, look safer. They actually have safety rails, which many of the walkways in the lower areas of Sharn seem to not really have. And the Sky Coach also brings you past places where there's more active patrol from Sharn city guards and maybe even some other privately hired bodyguards. The upper city usually is, if you're in the hip and wealthy crowd of the city, you probably have a house here. In the upper city, there are places where you can actually see the sky. Something that people in the lower areas might go a lifetime without seeing. And usually, ending your evening in the upper city would already be a great place to end it. The Sky Coach takes you even higher. You
GM, would you say that rain has been as high as the Skyway in the last 8 days? Nondescriptly, not specifically, but...
Can you give me a persuasion check?
Okay.
Not to persuade the GM. I need to check something in game if Rain would have gotten there.
Total 18.
Getting all the way up to the Skyway, that is something that's very exclusive entrance. Think of it as a wealthy gated community, the Skyway, and getting in there would have been very hard. I would say that Rain would have gotten to the entrance areas of the Skyway, but getting into like any kind of living areas or like neighborhoods there, no. She would have not been given entrance there.
Okay. Even as a fairly short, white, gray-haired, large foreheaded individual, right?
Due to also what other things Rain knows about that individual, even that would have not given her an advantage.
Noted. Okay, so that helps me, conjecture what Rain may have done. Thank you.
Perfect. But at this point, all of you do ascend further upwards, all the way upwards to the highest point of Sharn, an area that is architecturally apparently impossible. None of these pillars that keep this part of the city aloft should be powerful enough to keep it in the sky. The weight of these wealthy semi-palaces that fill Skyway should cause this entire district to crumble in on itself and fall down into the lower districts. Yet it doesn't. It defies gravity and is the crown of the city of spires. On your landing flight, you see the full beauty and grace of streets that are lighted by well-kept Everlight lanterns, with trimmed hedges, actual driveways leading up to estates and small palaces, and district guards that wear the best armor and weapons to keep the wealthy gentry of Skyway safe. And it is in this district, in front of one magnificent mansion, where the Skyway, with a Sky Coach, lowers itself. And you are landed now. The coach touches down on the ground. And a few moments later, the door is opened and the Warforged that picked you up gestures you to come out, and whoever would like to have some help to get out of the Sky Coach is given some help exiting it.
Rain for sure jumps out and is like, walks a couple of steps just past the Warforged and like looking at the guards, what they look like, what they just like studying very intently with her eyes. For reasons.
Dyson will step out and step forward alongside Rain. Oh boy.
Yeah, jumping out as well.
As you're getting out, you can now fully see the magnificence of the of this place that you've landed before. You have landed on a cobbled driveway that is in the middle of a kept green garden, trimmed grass that is kept to a specific height, only just a few millimeters long. Tall green hedges, also almost like cubically cut, outline the terrain of this building. And earthbound vehicles and persons would have to enter this through an iron wrought gate that is behind you. Ahead of you is a 5-floor tall building made out of pale red stone and having these almost like it looks like it has like these attached towers on the corners of it. These little towers that reach out of the building, almost like, and some of them have small balconies on top of them or on outside of them. There's a very asymmetrical appearance to this building. Whoever has designed the architecture of it wanted to have this building stick out a little bit. Growing over one side of the building is an impressive patch of poison ivy that has some red flowers blooming in it. The driveway that you landed on leads up to a large front door. And at that door you see the other Warforged of Lady Aurea standing. As it awaits your approach, the Warforged that picked you up is already walking up to the front door.
Rain also goes up to the front door. She's almost skipping.
Run! Get there before they were forged. It's a race now.
You make your way. Oh, sorry, Dyson. Yeah.
Oh, as we approach, I think it's gonna like keep a lookout. Like, is there anyone other than the Warforged, like, obviously watching us?
Any of the Warforged, anything else watching you?
Like, is there anything aside from the Warforged watching us?
You look around and you see out somewhere on the grass. There is at one side, a little bit further away from the house, there is this little patch of shrubberies and bushes, and there is a human male in gardener's clothing, currently trimming one of the shrubberies, and is looking in the direction of you and your party.
Just making note of where they are and heading to the door.
All right. The party arrives eventually at the door, and the two Warforged move to the door and push it open, ushering you inside. And as you enter, you step into a foyer of this pretty impressive house. Directly from the foyer, there is a staircase leading up to the upper floors. Large windows with which seem to have a little bit of a sheen of dust on them. And most of the furniture that you can see here is actually covered with blankets, making sure that it does not cover in dust just like the windows do. One of the few pieces of furniture that is not covered is this large grandfather clock that stands against one of the walls, and it's dunk, dunk, dunk echoes in the foyer. The two Warforged that have further entered into the foyer are already on their way to go up the stairs, but a certain other person is slowly coming down the stairs. Lady Aurea Erkoren is making her descent, and you hear her say, "Ah, I am glad that my employees could find you. I have been making a bit of a wild guess. I was thinking to myself, where should I send my employee to go look for you if I were an adventurer who might just want to have a quiet evening somewhere? And I was reminded about the Drunken Dragon, a place I have visited a few times myself. I do not care much for the clientele there, but I do think they have a nice collection of ales. Certainly one of the better ones in this city. I do
Have you
hope...
experience as an adventurer? For having such insight into adventurers.
I would not say my life has been one of that of an adventurer, but I do know many adventurers. And I think that helps me kind of putting myself into your adventurer's boots.
Thank you for the invitation.
It is long overdue. I will admit, I enjoyed our little journey to Sterngate. And I'm still grateful for the conversation we had then, the little exchanges, and the company you've given. But...
is that true? Because I know at least there's one person in our party that she's not always happy to see.
Yeah, true.
I'd like an insight check as well.
Rebus and Rain, can both of you give me an insight check, please?
Mother. Total 4.
$14.
14. Rain, if anything, you would pick up that Aurea seems just very happy at this point. She seems honestly happy to have you over here. And who knows, people change their attitudes about other people. Maybe she did conclude that this journey was nice to be, or maybe, and as someone who grew up with people who do this kind of thing, maybe she's just being politely friendly. Could be any of the two. Rebus, you're pretty sure she's just being very polite at this point. Though the happiness seems honest. Like her attitude of being happy seems very honest. One thing that stuck with me was our conversation about your potential interest in maybe taking on jobs outside of the Clifftop Adventurers Guild. And for that, I have been talking with my friend Nigel, telling him about how you've been so far pivotal in the acquisition of the items he needs or desires. And he agrees on having a conversation with the four of you to getting to know you a little bit.
Lovely. Right now, that'd be ideal.
I have asked him if he would be available at this very moment. Well, I did already, of course, ask this in advance with him to see when he would be interested in having a conversation with you. And tonight would be very suitable for him. That's why I sent my employee out to come and fetch you. And I'm glad they could find you. So, if you would, follow me.
Rain skips.
Aurea leads you. Yeah, sorry, Dyson.
Ever since we walked in, is anyone to try and look is comfortable being in this building for some reason? Very like kind of like playing with his stuff kind of thing. He's not here.
So Dython is rather uncomfortable being in this building.
I will follow wherever she wants to take us. It's at this point, I have nothing to say yet.
Okay. And
Just curious, a bit on guard about everything, but also, a polite demeanor.
gotcha. Dython, could you briefly reiterate what you said earlier?
Based very, very like visibly, like to.
All right. Well, whatever the stance of the individual person here is, you as a group follow Aurea up the staircase and up to the first floor, where you see that whatever light is still out, whatever light is still outside, it's already an evening, and the only light that comes in from the outside is whatever lanterns are lit outside on the streets and in the driveway. You come up to the first floor, and on this floor there is more furniture that is covered in blankets. The hallway that you come into is just lined with furniture of various sizes covered in rough white or like broken white blankets. And yes, Rebus?
I want to ask, is this definitely a house that is part of Miss Aurea's, estate, or something like a summer house? That's why, everything is covered in blankets, because she doesn't usually she doesn't usually visit or something like that, or are the banners on the walls or something indicative of this belonging to someone else?
Excellent question. I think there's part of that answer is something that Rebus would know, but before I give you that information, could you give me also a history check, please, to see what kind of extra information I could give you?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Could you, I think a part of that information is something that Rebus would have, but can you also give me a history check to see what extra information Rebus might have?
Not very good. 7.
Right. So, most of this covered furniture would show to you that at least this is a house that is not often used. Someone's making sure that whatever furniture is in here is just protected and is not gathering too much dust. usually the kind of stuff you do if this is like some kind of part-time residence, some kind of vacation house. What you would also notice is next to like furnitures and stuff, you don't see many kind of decorations on the wall. There's not like many paintings or banners hung up on the wall. Most of the walls are very clear, and also there are spots on the wall that are a bit more pale, or like have a bit more pale than other spots around the wall, as if something once hung there, but it's now removed.
Also, is any of this place familiar to me?
You think about that, if you might know this, and as you and the party follow Aurea, you come by a room with the door slightly ajar. And as you look into that room, you have this brief thought of having been in that room before, staring out the window in that room.
And I know what would be outside the window. Like, what would I expect to see?
You would expect to see that this faces the garden. And from your memory, you recall that if you look out of that window, you should see a fountain in the garden.
Alright, I don't know if I can see it from the door without making it too obvious, or if there's any other room we're heading towards where I could see that same view, but at some point I would like to confirm if that's the case.
I'd say that if you linger a little bit back in the group, and you like just slightly maybe push the door open a little bit, you could take a peek through that window to see if you can confirm your thought.
I'd like to do that, not very obviously, just, I don't want to actually look into the room. I just want to get the right angle to see that.
Gotcha. Absolutely. You linger a little back, push the door open a bit. You look through the room. The room isn't that large. It's like a little study. And in your memory, there was also a desk in this room, but any other kind of furniture here is also covered in blankets. You see the window. It's mostly dark outside, but you do see through the window, illuminated by some of the lanterns, the outline of a fountain outside in the garden.
Okay, I'll keep walking. Is Rain far away from me? Like, is she way,
I'm walking right behind Aurea. Like she said, we're going to meet with Nigel. She's like, okay, task driven. Or at least my back is certainly turned to Rebus because I'm ahead of you.
I'll wait until we're closer together, maybe in whatever room we're going to. Does this place give me, like, is there a greenhouse here in the garden? According to my memories, is this the same place? Or is that a different location?
Oh boy.
Marcus, your faces are sending me.
I'm sorry. I'm pondering here because this is a great question. And you're certainly picking up on things, and I want you to pick something up, but I want to do it in the right way.
The chair.
Can you
Stealth check.
can you give me a straight intelligence check? So just roll a d20 and add your intelligence modifier.
12. Not rolling great.
You think back about, indeed, it's one thing that was deep in your memory, this greenhouse where you were as well, was there a greenhouse in this garden? There was a fountain. You stood in that room. You were standing in front of the window. There was someone next to you. You talked to that person next to you, but was the greenhouse in this garden? There was a garden around the greenhouse, but was it in this garden? As you're looking there thinking if that fits, like you're trying to put like not just the geography of things together, but you're trying to put your memories together to sort them. At one point, the rest of the group would have noticed that Aurea stopped, looks over her shoulder and sees Rebus at the end of the group just standing there peering into a room. And Aurea leans a little bit to the side and shouts at Rebus, "Do you like the furniture?"
Oh, forgive me. Sadly, I can't really see much of it. It's all covered up. I assume you're not here often?
Well, this is not my place. This is Lord Faria's place. I don't come here too much.
Understood.
Do I record it name?
Apologies.
Sorry, can you repeat that, Kara?
Do I recall the name?
Lord Farias, Nigel Farias, the
Forest, yeah.
yeah, the your sponsor, your
Yeah. Wait. Okay.
and
okay.
Aurea looks at you, Rebus, and says, we can give you a tour of the entire estate once we're done with the conversation. Nigel doesn't like to be kept waiting.
Of course, my apologies. I have very rarely be exposed to such beautiful interior design. I would very much like a tour. And I'll just make my way to, join the group.
All right. And you do follow the group further, and at the end of the hallway, Aurea knocks at a door, and you hear a old male voice answering from the other side. Yes, come in. Aurea pushes open the door, and you see a study, which still has a few pieces of furniture covered in blankets, but most of them are not is not covered anymore. There's a desk that is filled with papers and books and scrolls. There's a little Everlight lantern placed on the desk to illuminate this reading space. Bookshelves filled with more reading material and other objects. And seated behind the desk on a chair that looks maybe just as old as this individual is a human male figure, a very skinny, lanky fellow with white gray hair and a fairly large forehead, who is currently bent over the desk, quickly still scribbling something into some book they have in front of them. And as you with Aurea enter, you hear this person mumbling to themselves, "Oh yes, when we align it in the spectrum of the fairly, yes, I see. Oh, there you are.
Excuse me.
My adventurers, my little minions. I should not call you that. You are in my service. or more in the Clifftop Adventurers Service. And Lady Aurea here has suggested I should think about hiring you. Yes, Reed.
Excuse me, Marcus, what the hell is this guy? Just the whole vibe. What is going on? I hate it so much.
Do I need to tune it down a bit?
No, it's great. Just what the hell?
He is
How dare he? I just
he looks at all of you.
I'm okay.
You are? You're sure?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. He looks at you and he's like still a little bit bent over at the desk. He has this he has like a blanket over his shoulders to keep himself warm while he's like one half of his face is illuminated by the Everlight lantern. And Aurea stands in front of you and says, "Well, my acquaintances. Nigel Farias, the collector of the items that you have been gathering, and currently author of his own research on the interaction of planar items and planar manifestations. The man who has been passing on these missions to the Clifftop Adventurers Guild, and who is interested in maybe skipping the middleman and working directly with you." And as he's being introduced, he gets up from his chair. Leaning against his desk is a walking cane, which he picks up, and he has to lean a bit on the walking cane, still having the blanket draped over his shoulders. Still not so sure about that, if I want to hire directly, but why don't we have a cup of tea? Get to know each other a little bit.
Tea sounds nice. Dyson, you like tea, don't you?
Yes. Sounds wonderful.
Sounds like a good offer. Thank you. I'm sure we can.
Uh-oh.
We lost our DM.
We said yes to the tea.
Okay.
But let's keep
Yes.
going because
Oh.
there's been a lot of pauses. Please.
Yep, you did say yes to the tea. My apologies. Video is doing a little bit strange today, but we'll get through it. I was refreshing because Austin was disappearing on my screen, and I wanted to hear what Austin was saying as Dythun, but now I see Dythun again, and you said all yes to the tea?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just remarking that it will be useful to cater our services if we have a more one-to-one interaction. So
Excellent. I shall give you my finest tea. Come. And he gestures with his walking cane over to a table at the other end of the study. And it's just a really small table with a few chairs scattered around it. Most of the table is also filled with documents, books, and writing. And Nigel, leaning on his cane, walks over to that table. And he just takes his cane and just wipes everything off the table. So you hear the clattering of books and scrolls and documents all fall to the floor. And he then walks over to a cabinet, pulls it open, and just very quickly pulls out a tea set, like cups and a teapot and everything, and looks around. Water. Yes, I have it somewhere here. One moment. Walks over to another corner of the room. There is a little metal pot there, which he picks up, and he fills it. There's still warm water in the pot. He puts that into the teapot. All right, we have the water. Yes, the tea. My favorite one. Goes back to the cabinet where he picked up the tea set, pulls out a box with tea leaves, puts those in the pot, but then he realizes that he put the water in before the tea leaves, so he puts a little bit more water on top of the tea leaves.
Like Rain is
and-
giggling over the fact that he used his cane to just like clean off the table. You just kind of hear her you hear just kind of saying like, if you ever need help cleaning off other tables, please let me know. This looks innovative, direct. I like it.
But books can't break. You can just shove them off of a table. Doesn't matter. It's not like they have feelings or anything. And he moves around like he now, because he noticed that he like put the leaves in after the water. He's like starts to stir in the teapot to get it to blend a little bit, and then lets it sit. Rebus.
But I just want to ask, so there's nobody else in this like gigantic house? Like there's no help, no servants, no anything? He's just alone, and then us with Aurea and the Warforged? Because I wouldn't expect him to have to prepare this himself, but like... Okay, why? Okay.
The only other person that at least Daithun saw here was the gardener out in the garden. And for the rest...
Right.
There is not like a... You haven't encountered any other people so far here.
And the furniture in this room is not covered, right? Like he's using his desk and such.
Some of it is still covered, but like every piece of furniture that he uses, like his desk and some of the bookshelves and the cabinets and stuff, those are no longer covered with blankets. But there's still like some kind of little cabinets and shelves that are still covered with it, yeah.
Is he sleeping here? Is he just like literally visiting? Like, is this just a rendezvous place? I guess I
should ask, as Rebus like, do I get the feeling that he is spending here the night, or is he more just a visitor, just like us, and he's come to this place just to have this meeting?
At least, if you're wondering if Nigel stays here, at least in this room, you don't see a bed or any other thing to sleep on. So if he stays here, except if he's sleeping behind his desk or something, he must at least have some other room.
I assume, well, I guess I want to gather, like, how much has he unpacked? You know, when you get to a new place, is this desk covered in things that he's been using for a longer time, or did he just arrive here today for this meeting? Because he might sleep in a different room, that's obviously correct. But since I can't tell that, like, is he wearing clothes that he wouldn't wear outside, or do I see, like, essentially his coat hanging there, fresh from having taken it off, is what I'm trying to gather.
Gotcha. Can you give me an investigation check for that?
I am rolling terribly today. So bad. It's getting us nowhere. 9.
9. This place, if anything, is very messy. And that could tell you many different things. It could be that Nigel Farias is just a very messy person. It could tell you that Nigel Farias just very hastily put everything here, which would mean that he maybe just arrived. So it's one of those two. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But it could also be just as well that he's just very chaotic, and this is just how his working space looks.
All right. Thank you for the information, DM. I appreciate it.
Nigel finishes eventually, like, making the tea and pours every one of you a cup. And then as he sits down, like, almost moving his blanket as if he's wearing a cape, like we're putting it back before he sits down. So, let me tell you about my manifesto. And as he leans in, we are going to take a quick little break before we go into
Now?
the second half. And we're just going to take our casual break of about 10 minutes to refill our drinks. And we advise everyone who's here also to do the same. Stretch your legs, refill your drinks, take your meds, take care of yourself. And we'll be back in about 10 minutes. Thank you so far, and see you in 10.
Phew.
And we are back for our second half after a half of getting the party all the way from the center of Sharn all the way up to the high skyway. We're this close to continue to see what happens as they talk with Nigel Forias, the mysterious sponsor of the missions. But talking about sponsors, if you like what you see here, feel free to sponsor us. Well, in a way that you can, because we are very happy with everyone who joins us on these streams. And if you like what we're doing, feel free to give us a follow or even a sub here on Twitch. Don't forget, it is September on Twitch, and subs are a bit cheaper this time of year. So if you feel like subbing, we would really appreciate it. Also, if you want to keep following us and see what we're doing and what we're planning and what's upcoming for our channel, Horde of Tales, follow us on our Twitter or join us on our Discord. Links are below in the description where you can follow and join us. If you're joining us on today's session, but you want to know what we did in all these previous sessions of the Convergence Manifesto, we keep our VODs on our YouTube channel, not just the VODs of Convergence Manifesto, of the VODs of practically anything we do here on Horde of Tales. One-shots, events, special month, and anything else that you find here, you find on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Horde of Tales.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't follow us? We are as a award-nominated stream, you know.
As the humblest award-nominated stream.
Extremely. We do excel in our humbleness, but yeah,
that's one of our.
Well, someone has to say it.
Exactly. Well,
And DM, you have Catvantage.
do I? Do I? Who?
Gwenora wanted chaos, and I have to admit, I was actually typing it out, and she beat me to the punch. But there will already be a kitty cat on the screen, so I am adhering by Catvantage rules.
Gwenora, thank you very much. I put that little kitty cat down there in my corner, and let's see if I get to use that in our second half. Because our party is currently in the estate of Nigel Forias, who has just made tea, put it down on a messy table, gathered the party with Lady Aurea here in his study, and said that he wanted to talk about his manifesto. And he leans back in his chair and clears his throat. It began a few years ago. And you get the sense that he's going to start into a long story.
Okay, I'm taking out my flask that I got totally new. I'll put off some of the content into my tea, like to spice it up a little bit.
As you do that, all of you basically hear Nigel start with some part of his life story, which seems like a very long, meandering way to get to the point. And Lady Aurea also looks at him, sees Delphine do that thing with her little flask, and then turns to Nigel. Nigel, dearest, to the point, please. And Nigel is like, well, what I'm trying to get at, I have been always been of great interest about the various planes that involve our existence, how they are linked to the moons that circle our world, and how they pull at us. Do you know that when the planes are in a certain alignment, they actually influence our world? Just imagine the planes that you have already interacted with. The plane of Fernia, of fire. how it can make even the hottest desert even hotter. And the plane of Thelanis, a place filled with stories and legend, when it is a coterminus to our world, it draws out creatures of legends into our world. It is fascinating, don't you think?
And what
Oh,
do you
yes, this
theorize?
is so fascinating.
Anyhow,
What are you saying, Rin?
Yeah, what were you-
Rin was going to say, yes, they're all wonderful pieces of art in their own accord, each with their own very unique powers. What happens when they all come together?
and he leans a bit forward. Well, that is one of the things I am studying.
What do you think?
I think that a certain fusion of the planes could create a unpredictable instability. But as a man of science, unpredictable instabilities can be the start of something amazing. And this is something that I'm working on, and I have to say, with the objects that you have already acquired through the Clifftop Adventurers Guild, I have made some interesting progress to this point.
Like what?
Well, depending on the number of items that I put together into the setup I have for them, I have created minor infractions and tears into the material plane around it, minor incursions of the planes. Rather fascinating. Still, do not worry. Limited to my basement. Yes, limited to my basement.
What do you do if a Kraken comes through?
Well, Lady Aurea has been a kind sponsor, and when I perform these experiments, I'm protected by people in her employ who can keep me safe for what things come through. And don't be afraid, it would not be the first time I burn myself on one of my experiments.
I have a question, actually. You speak of taking these things, bringing them together. You've had some interactions already, yes?
Correct.
Who is doing that? Are you handling the items? Or are you putting other people's lives at risk to do this?
Oh. No, I'm not putting other people's life at risk. I am a man of action myself. I do these experiments.
You haven't had any negative effects from the items?
A few burned hairs here and there, few sleepless nights. It's all part of the process.
Has your hair ever curled as part of being fused with another plane?
It turned blue once.
Ah. Rain kind of like gestures at her curly hair. This is what happened to me.
Fascinating. Do you know with which plane that interaction was?
I would tell an employer. I would tell for the right costs. Yes, of course you would. And I guess that is what we are here for in the end, is it not?
I mean, that's why I'm here.
Lady Aurea has been very positively about you, and I have to say, I cannot argue with results. The one time that I decided to hire adventurers through another guild was the only time when I almost not got what I needed, and yet still then, it were the Clifftop Adventurers who pulled through. Now,
Well, if I may interrupt, I would like to point out it wasn't exactly the Clifftop Guild who, had anything to do about it. I believe it's our particular group and our particular set of skills and characteristics that is proving to be so successful with this mission. So, therefore, that's why we're here to talk with you directly.
You sound rather confident
Oh,
about
that's
your ability and your group.
I am.
You should be. From what I hear, the places that you have went through to get these items, they are most dangerous places. You've made it to the actual Shining Valley, for example, a place that hardly anyone ever has found. Tell me, what were the harpies like?
What
Wonderful.
harpies?
Well, I've heard
The-
stories that there are harpies in the Shining Valley. Fierce and strong.
What I will say is
You
the
see.
people we met were wonderful. Whatever they may have been or may not have been.
Fascinating. I see.
Well, we're very grateful of the interactions we've had so far. It is only in our job description to retrieve an item and bring it to one or other place, not to recall all the information needed. And in order to protect some of the lovely people we have met, we'd rather it stays that way.
And if you were directly in my employ, would you hold up that same professional secrecy if necessary?
If necessary. Like my friend Miss Rain very eloquently put it, for the right price.
Though that doesn't buy you access to previous information necessarily.
Even not
There
for the
are-
right price?
I personally have a bit more. Money is one thing, but I would not myself endanger other people for it. I myself made a promise to people, certain information I'm not going to give you. If my companions wish to, that's up to them.
Consider it this way. Maintaining our promises with other people ensures that we maintain a, albeit secretive, but continued working relationship that could be exploited so long as we're able to maintain that relationship.
And it proves that future employers of ours will not get information to you, for example, were they to hire us. I feel like perhaps disclosing information about past missions that had not been discussed previously opens a bit of a moral dilemma. So, yeah.
Yes. And with what you're saying here, you're not only proving that you are professionally very capable of achieving goals, but you're also very professional in handling information entrusted to you. A great skill to have. As they say, loose lips sink ships. And in my field, I do require people who can keep their mouths shut, if necessary.
And Delphine is an excellent captain of sorts.
So I have heard. Since not everyone can keep their lips sealed.
Oh, well?
But I think that is not a matter we should discuss now. We should talk about your potential engagement directly for me. Because with not just... You have already acquired 4 items for me, but I still have my eyes on a few other objects in most dangerous locations. What do you know of the plane of perfect order, Daanvi? And as he asks that, all of you can make an Arcana check. I would say,
Nice.
Rain,
Yes.
considering your backgrounds with planes, you can make your Arcana check with advantage.
Yeah.
-1, here we come.
Oh no.
15 for me.
That's
He's
15.
landing on a corner. Okay, 3.
Totally 11 with advantage.
18.
18.
Maybe the plane of hearing plane
Yay.
of order is like, this one. Oh no.
Information has been erased.
Dython, what did you get?
3.
3.
Dython hears plane of order, and he's like, that place sounds terrible.
That's where Rain's mind is going as well.
Right. Rain and
Did not
Dython.
pay attention on that class.
Rain and Dyson share the same mental space on that matter. Like, plane of order, what kind of place is that? Though, Rain, you would know, even with your role, you would know that Daanvi is the plane associated with perfect order and hierarchy. It is a place of where mathematics are law, where everything has a predetermined space and everything adheres to those spaces. It is a place of protocol and rules. Rebus, with your result, you do remember that there is some vague memory of yours that you sometime long ago you had a conversation with someone and you can't put a face to it, that the plane of Daanvi is a plane that scholars are interested in getting to because it is a place where knowledge, if you know how to seek it in the plane of Daanvi, it is a place where you can easily find certain knowledge because it is a place where it's very well cataloged. But you need to be able to navigate the, for mortals, sometimes absurd bureaucratic processes of the plane. Delphine, how chaotic would you describe yourself?
I would say when she was younger, she followed basically mostly everything that was expected from her.
Mm.
It just changed during the last like 20 years. So right now she wouldn't
Yeah,
do
I
that
guess.
anymore, but like in her past, that was a very,
Right.
very much different thing.
Well, you do recall from
Following the
your
rules eventually doesn't get you where you need to be, and then it's like, well, new strategy now.
Fuck that shit.
you would recall from your schooling in your family, you did have lessons on the different planes and its influences, and especially when certain planes have manifest zones in the material plane, it's an important thing to know about them because they might impact your sailing or your trade routes and the likes of that. And what you do know about the plane of Daanvi is that it is indeed this very hierarchical, ordered realm that, especially for people with rather chaotic inclinations, can actually be a dangerous place to be, as their your very alignment can feel unnatural to that plane and make your stay there especially hard.
Great.
Sounds excellent. Wanna go there?
Great players. 10 points on Yelp.
You see Nigel Farias, then once you all kind of collect your information about this, you see Nigel Farias look at you. Well, the plane of Daanvi is in my opinion, one of the nightmares that mortaldom could inflict on itself. A place of perfect order, a place where everything follows a certain line, everything is in a certain box, everything has these fixed rules to it. Sounds terrible. But
I concur. That sounds awful.
I think that that kind of place could need something with a little bit of, how do they say it? A little je ne sais quoi, a little spice to it,
Pizzazz.
a little pizzazz. Yes, yes. That is the word I was looking for. Be that as it may, my next part, the next step in my workings, does require a little bit of one element that can be found in Daanvi. And it can actually be found through a passageway that my contacts have located. I am looking for the Quintessence Engine, a planar artifact, similar to the ones that you have already gathered for me. But this one is linked to Daanvi, and as I have been informed, actually is not just in a manifest zone of Daanvi, but beyond the manifest zone. It is in the actual realm of Daanvi itself. And the manifest zone there is your entrance point to it. Accessing Daanvi is something that you don't just nilly-willy do. Because, as you can imagine, for a plane of order, if you are not a part of that plane, if you're not expected there, the plane will not let you enter. But I have a way of getting people in. Rather,
Hush. No one tells me where I can or cannot enter.
while I
See,
admire
this
your
might be
spirit,
a problem.
I admire your spirit, Ms. Rain, but this plane could very much reject you if it wanted to. But do not worry. I have a way of getting the lot of you in there. Contact of mine has helped me concocting a plan. Most masterful. It does require a access shard, which is a spell shard linked to the plane of Daanvi for each of you, and entrance to the manifest zone with mathematical precision that maybe a group of your experience is surprisingly competent with. I have been hearing stories about the habits of the Clifftop Adventurers Guild. There's an initiation ritual that they do of jumping off of things.
Been there, done that, yes.
You don't happen to have any further experience with leaping, jumping, falling, flying, preferably at a specific angle.
Yes.
I think
And
we have contacted the correct group.
Please name an angle.
Is it down?
It is
name
down.
Please name a numerical degree.
A fall of at least a 19-degree angle.
Rain levitates up a meter, and her whole body from the center tilts 19 degrees.
Perfect, perfect.
Like she's like planking in midair.
Thank
Strong
you. Like,
ass.
reaches over and just like spins right.
Perfect. Aurea, I am so glad you directly introduced these people to me. They might be what we need.
Not a pizza pie.
I thought he was just doing the cat thing of like,
The thing, he's gonna mess with it.
What
Anyway.
the access shards are one part of this process. The other part is that the manifest zone to Daanvi, serving as a portal to it, needs to be accessed by each of you holding an access shard while you access it from a specific angle with a specific velocity. My contact and I have come up with a way of achieving that, and achieving it in a way that hopefully will not draw too much attention. Before I continue, are there any questions up to this point?
What's your price?
Do you really want to haggle for the prices until you know the full scale of the mission? Should I name a starting price?
Actually, I have perhaps a more interesting, or more pressing matter that might determine the price. If we accept and we essentially has to work directly for you and for your specifications, with all that entails, will you be willing to explain what you're trying to achieve and how these items might be used? Because I think, even though the right price might buy you a lot of skill and compromise, I do not think we could fully commit without fully knowing if our minds will be at rest or not. And sadly, that is our decision to make with the information given. If I'm being clear.
For each of you, let's start with a price of 2,000 gold pieces per person. And let me think about this question that Rebus has offered.
I'm listening for this starting price.
Perfect. The manifest zone that you will be accessing is a little bit further north in the nation of Karnath. It is not too far away from a lightning railway. Has any of you ever had the pleasure of traveling with one of these magnificent machines? They are truly fascinating objects of artifice. Giant machine vehicles that are elevated by the interaction between an elemental bound to its engines and magical items on its railway, which can accelerate it to great speeds. House Aurea is running a fantastic service with them. Wouldn't you agree, Miss Delphine?
Oh yeah, totally. Also, one of the reasons why their own business crashed during the war, because a lot of their lightning ray got destroyed.
Oh yes, that was most unfortunate. Yes, very unfortunate.
Totally.
Unlike any ships of House Lyrenda that might have suffered in the war or something. I am not involved in these dragon-marked houses' politics. They are way beyond my station. Anyhow, you would be traveling by lightning rail all the way up to Karnath. Of course, all tickets will be paid by me, and you will be traveling first class. All expenses paid. You can enjoy any services in the lightning rail at the minibar, any foods offered, and you can look forward to a few days of travel in the lightning rail with all comforts it offers. However, in Karnath, at your last stop, you will meet my contact who will help you out on this mission. Amaldi Kalkoran, a dwarf, originally from the Moror Holds. He has a very charming fellow who might be a little quickly too distracted by the good pleasures of life, but is a very reliable contact of mine who will supply you with the access shards that you need. He will also travel with you towards the drop-off point, which is one of the bridges that lead to the final stop of the lightning rail you will be in. And from that bridge, you will have a clear drop into the manifest zone. You will jump out of the lightning rail from the exact spot that your contact Amaldi will show you in the train itself. Have the access shards on you and fall to the ground. Now I must warn you, you will fall to what will look to you solid ground. But whatever you do not slow down your fall. With the access shard on you, and if you jump at the right angle at the right time as it's being given by your contact, you will fall right into the plane of Daanvi. From there, I need you and your social skills to make your way to wherever the quintessence engine is on the plane.
And this engine is something that simply can be lifted as much as an acorn can be lifted off a playground.
As far as I have been informed, that should be possible. The engine in its name implies that it's something large, but it should be able by each of you to be lifted.
Will it be missed?
Oh, of course. So once you have
Ah.
it, you need to exit the plane as quick as possible. This is something that your access shards will allow you to do as well. The greatest danger lies in navigating the plane of Daanvi, as it's
Is there
extremely-
anything special how we're getting out of that plane again? I mean, it's a very special way to get in.
The access shards that will be provided to you will also be a way that guides you out of the plane. You do not have to do any further special things to get out of it. Simply follow the capabilities of the access shards that you will be given. The challenge is not getting out. The challenge will be more getting in.
Well, it is quite literally a leap of faith towards our impending doom if anything were to go wrong. But assuming our record will not be broken and we will make it in, I feel like Delphine's inquiry is quite logical, since you're essentially asking us to steal something that will presumably be guarded or protected. So I assume these access shards offer a quick retreat. Is it teleportation?
Similar to it. It will be a method included in them that will get you out of the plane as quick as possible, though I do not exclude the possibility that the inhabitants of Daanvi will not look too kindly on having an item of theirs taken, but I trust in your professional skills of fending off any dangers on your way out of the plane.
Does Rain know the inhabitants of Daanvi? Like, she doesn't need to know like specifics, but like as much as she knew about like the remoras on Frostbite Isle, for example. Like,
Daanvi
Right.
is a place that Rain would know various celestials, like angels, are part of. And if there is one archetypical thing that especially a student like Rain would know about Daanvi, it's that it's home to the Inevitables, which are rumored to be basically constructs which make sure that certain cosmic constants are not manipulated. That a certain key order in the cosmos is guaranteed.
We really need a group name. But, yes, Nigel, this will be quite challenging, even for a party of ours themed. If there were any additional tools or supplies or means to ensure that we could come back to you safely with this very well guarded and important item to potentially angry, orderly beings, that would also be very welcome, commendable.
I understand. But I already think that the payment I'm offering of 2,000 per person is quite the significant payment I'm giving you. To summarize, you travel by lightning rail to Karnath. You meet your contact. You make your leap of faith. Navigate Daanvi. Get out the Quintessence engine. And get back here. Once that is completed, and I have the engine in my hands, each of you will be 2,000 gold pieces richer. And I might even show you one of my experiments with them to also show you what I'm working on.
I should certainly hope so. Otherwise, this will be the last mission I will participate in. I don't know about my companions. I don't want to drag them with me, but...
To be fair, normally we are getting an upfront payment. I mean, in the end, it's not even guaranteed that we're coming back alive.
That is a danger of your lifestyle.
But if a little shining red drink in a bottle could have prevented it, if only we had the coin to, suck up.
$1,000 gold pieces in advance. And the second half on completing the mission.
Sounds fair.
50-50 split.
What a generous compromise. I mean this in earnest. I'm in.
Yeah, whatever, I'm in as well.
Sounds fair.
Yes. Then we'll be happy to offer our services.
Perfect. Oh, I was thinking I would have to do a little bit more convincing, but Lady Aurea then also already told me that you are quite the daring crew. I do have one more question, though. You don't have any problem in working directly for me and circumventing Guild Handler Lara?
Well, I look at my companions. Has Guildmaster Laura so far offered us a fresh job? Are we not allowed to take assignments in between?
As far as I know, we are free to take whatever we want.
I don't believe she would have a problem with this. We could contact.
No need for that. I'm just checking in with my temporary employees now. Very well then. I shall make sure that I'll get your prepayments ready on the morrow, and they will be handed to you in the morning. It is getting a little bit late. If you want to, I do have space here available in the estate. We could make some bedrooms available, and you could stay for the night.
That would be most kind. Also, perhaps in the fashion of Daanvi, I would appreciate if we could get what has been discussed today here in written form. Before we
A
depart.
contract, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah, I shall draft one up.
Yes.
I shall make sure that is ready in the morning as well. So we don't have also any kind of legal complications later on.
Since we're not working through the, through the guild, it would be perhaps intelligence for us to keep a copy. And thank you so much for such interesting business.
Thank you for aiding me. Aurea, do you think your Warforged could help me get a few of the rooms ready for our visitors? I think we need to pull off some blankets and put on some fresh blankets on the beds and get you some comfortable sleeping space.
Oh, I'll gladly help with that if there's not. If you need more hands on the task.
Oh, yeah. Yes, for sure. Perfect. Well, many hands make light work. Come. And he gets up and he really has to carefully get up from his seat. Leans on his cane. Follow me then. I'll show you to the bedrooms, and you just make yourself as comfortable as possible. Feel free to finish the tea. It's I'm not really pleased with this brew. I will brew you another one later. Well, come on. Let's get you ready for the night. Rebus.
Before leaving, I'd like to go past Rain, since we're all getting up, blah blah blah, it's a bit of a and just make a small gesture of mental connection before I leave, presumably following the other Warforged to get blankets and whatever is needed.
Rebus hears in their head, "You rang?"
Always so nice to hear your melodious voice, Miss Rain. I have some thoughts to share and would like to keep everyone on the same page. And I will essentially tell her I have been here before, this has something to do with memories of my past, presumably with Miss Aurea. I can't quite remember in which circumstances I was here, but I know I'm hoping that wandering through other rooms might bring some more memories to light. And I will probably, and I say this, with the hopes that this will remain private, but I did want you to have this information. I will probably try and confront Miss Aurea sometime tonight about our shared and yet still unacknowledged past. I would like for this conversation to be private, but with that said, you may do as you wish.
I commend you, Rebus. For the first step is the scariest. And it takes many, many steps to shed the fear or at least ignore it. I commend you nonetheless, and I hope it's very fruitful. And
Thank you.
who knows if some luck might befall you in this conversation with Aurea. I certainly do wish it for you.
Me as well. I figured, we might be walking into our deaths, and if she had wanted to kill me, she would have done so already. So, might as well get answers before it's too late.
I
And
think there's a
trust that
lot
we
left
will be
for
safe
you.
regardless of the outcome. Hope so. And I will, go see where they take me and which rooms will be prepared and where we're getting things from, and just trying to get more of a glimpse of the place I'm in.
The rooms for you are prepared also on this floor that you're currently on. First floor by European reckoning, second floor by American reckoning, and there are a few bedrooms here that Rebus and the two other Warforged help in pulling off, making some of the beds here, which have nice mattresses on them. Each of these rooms has small bathrooms adjacent to them with actual running water, any kind of amenities that you might need. And each of you, in the process of the evening, is given one room, which are basically next to each other, across from each other in this hallway on this floor. And Rebus, while you're busy here, you do find yourself, as you walk over all of this hallway and through these rooms, you get more and more confirmation that you've been in this place. You have been here before, not just one time, you must have been here multiple times. But your memories that you have of it are way warmer than the place is now. In your memory, this place was bustling with people. In your memory, there was always from some corner, you either heard like conversations, someone was making music, there was laughter somewhere. Now, there's just ghosts here. Blankets covering furniture, and you in a room on a bed that you made yourself. It is fully dark now outside. Through the window in your room, Rebus, you still see there's a few lanterns outside in the garden that are lit. The door to your room is slightly ajar. And as you sit there on your bed, you first hear and then see Aurea passing by on the hallway outside. What do you do?
I will follow, not immediately run to her. I don't want to spook her, but I would like to walk to my door and see if I can catch her and before she turns the corner.
You carefully make yourself known to her, and she stops. She's alone in the hallway. Her Warforged not inside. She turns to you. Yes, Rebus.
Miss Aurea, forgive me, but I believe there is, what is the expression people use? An elephant in the room that needs to be addressed. And I would be very honored if you were to have a conversation with me. You don't have to be alone. Feel free to call your Warforged if you would feel more comfortable doing so. We can go to one of the sitting areas, or we can just talk here, whatever you desire.
Conversation can be held anywhere. I wouldn't mind. You helped so kindly in preparing also your own room. Why don't we talk in your room, Rebus?
Sure. I just a bit awkwardly hold the room, the door open, and once she's entered, I'll go get a chair, a couple of chairs, like in front of each other. Just
While you're getting chairs, she makes sure that the door is closed behind her. Just really falls closed. She looks at you putting down chairs. If you don't mind, I'll stand for now. What is it you would like to discuss, Rebus?
I will then sit on a chair and just like angle it towards her. Just sit down completely, not in a usual straight up official position, but in a more honestly very organic looking position of someone trying to catch their breath and affront a difficult topic. Miss Aurea, I must say, first of all, I would like to apologize if I have seemed somewhat insensitive or aloof in our encounters. But there is something you need to know, and there are some things I need to ask. It has come to my attention through time and different experiments, some of them with the help of my companions, that we might have met in the past. And it has also come to my attention that that has not been unnoticed by you, even though I must commend your very polite and elegant way of still having these very pleasant interactions with my party. For that, I thank you. I know something is wrong, and I would, if we're going to work any closely, I would like to know what that is. You see, I say we must have met before in a hesitant tone because I do not remember much of it. All I can say is
You don't remember.
Here, and I'll show a piece of a little extra kind of pendant that Aunt Moira gave me, as a little trinket to have. And as you can see, I have many repairs, some of them not so lasting. I woke up on this workshop about, how long has it been? How long have we been adventuring?
A few years?
With this group, with the party?
Oh no, with the group here. No. Sorry. No, with the
No,
group
I thought
here.
it was a few months, right?
Yeah, a few months. Yeah.
So about 6 months, not quite a year yet. Hence, still developing a lot of my opinions and personality, and experimenting a lot of the world for somewhat the first time. I would say the first and a half time. For many things seem familiar, but I surely can only count with a base of knowledge that every Warforged is imbued with of how the world works, but not to speed up the process of, how it works. Excuse me.
Gonna use my cat vantage for something.
Oh. No, she grills you.
Let's go.
Disintegrate.
As you tell all this, Aurea steps closer to you. Just to paint a bit of a picture, you're seated, Rebus. Aurea is a gnome, so even while you're seated, you're still taller than her. But the way she strides towards you with confidence in her step, but also projecting anger as she comes closer and closer with every step. She's now just inches away from you, looking up at you at your broken faceplate. She says, "You don't remember. You say you don't remember. You don't remember what you promised me the day you left?"
I don't remember anything from before 6 months ago. I woke up.
You promised to
Yes,
keep
Watcher.
them safe. You promised to keep them safe from whatever those nobles would be doing out there. You promised to keep them safe, to aid them, to keep them safe from themselves. You know what they were like. And then they don't come back. And you don't come back. And now you have the audacity, after I have shown you and your companions dealing with you now, this patience, that you dish me up this tale of convenience? Tell me once again, honestly, with that broken faceplate of yours, that you do not remember.
I wish it were any different. For what I have come to understand, I know something terrible must have happened. I am not whoever you met. I wear their body, but only broken remnants of their memories. I haven't been able to piece it together. I am so sorry. At this point, I will lean forward, essentially, so she can, I will bend over, essentially, and I will, detach, almost, forcefully, the back plate, that covers the back of my head, so she can see where the, damaged part of the memory is. So essentially, just, I have no brains inside here. Just look at it yourself if you don't believe me.
You open that
And
space.
just essentially grab that out with cables still kind of hanging out, and just, if she were to touch anything or do it, she could kill me right now. I'm essentially opening my head and being
You open that space where you know there should be a memory core. You know there should be the physical representation of the knowledge you lost. And you're, as you say, exposing yourself here in a very vulnerable way. Aurea steps further closer in. She has to pull herself a little bit up by your shoulder to look into the opening. And you feel her fingers on the edge of the socket where your memory core should be. It is a very gentle touch. Before she retreats her hands again, steps away from you with her back turned towards you, and you hear a long exhale that stutters, a cry that she's suppressing while trying to keep face. Who did this to you? Who took the memory core?
I wish I had more.
Do you even remember then anymore who sent you to us? Why you were sent to us?
Sorry.
You really can't remember, can you?
I've tried. My friends have tried. I have a few pieces I could put together. I could recognize your face. I can recognize this place, although it feels very different. But nothing beyond that.
Of course you feel like you know this place because you've been here. I've been here. They have been here.
They are the children in the greenhouse.
Yes. And you promised to protect them. You go by... That explains why you go by that name now.
Well, I guess creator is not the best. Aurea, who prepared me, she figured it would be a fitting name, as it means puzzle or enigma. So.
And you have quite the enigma to solve right now, don't you?
I know I might be the last person you want to talk to, and I don't blame you, and please, I hope you can process this however you might need with whoever you might need. But if you would want to help me piece things together, I would be immensely grateful.
Oh, I want you to remember. I want you to remember the promise you made. I want you to remember their faces. I want you to remember their voices, and I want you to remember how you went with them to the front lines. And then maybe, somewhere in that memory, you find answers to questions that I still have. And that maybe will be a slight soothe to the pain that I carry. So yes, Rebus, you help Nigel, and I shall see if I can help you get those memories back. But it won't be for you. And we shall keep our little charade going until we have that back. Is there anything else you would like to discuss?
No, ma'am, that'd be all. Thank you.
Good evening. She opens the door, steps out, and as she pulls it close, she stops for a moment. And then she gently closes it, leaving you, Rebus, in your room, on your chair, with only the lights of the lanterns in a garden that you know and don't know at the same time. And that's where we're going to end today's session and pick up next week.
And collectively give Sariel, the
Holy
player, a
mo-
hug.
And
Oh,
wow,
wow.
Sariel,
Hug, hug,
oh,
Oh,
hug,
shit.
hug, 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 hug.
Oh,
Okay.
Serial, great job. Thank you for setting up that scene. Oh,
Thank you for.
Thank you for playing that with me. That wow.
Oh.
You know, side plot that has been happening for a while. I'm
yeah.
happy to finally get into it.
Oh.
That was a
I
lot.
kept reading the chat and trying not to like laugh or smile because everyone was like, Rebus is dead. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Oh,
I
God.
have to shake this off for a moment now because I had to be a little bit mean and
It's fine. It's okay. It's okay. I understand it. Rebus understands it. We're both okay.
good.
For the audience
Oh.
who watches TTRPGs but may not play them themselves, decompression is something that is very important. As
Yeah.
players at the table, the DM is also a player. We have safety tools, we have discussions, we check in personally, so we can have these emotionally vulnerable moments and not take it in a bad way. We were building a story that has tension, that has ups and downs, but as people behind it, we're okay.
Yeah, and I want to give it really up for Serial here because you put your character into a vulnerable position there that requires an amount of trust among players. And I'm very happy that you share that trust here with us because I think putting these scenes out there, this was for Rebus' story a great scene. Like, it was not great in the sense like, oh, it was fun or something, but it was important for Rebus' story here, and I'm very glad that we get to have these kind of scenes. That I feel a little bit bad after doing them, but it's
Hug for GM,
No
hug
need,
for
no
GM.
need. I am.
but
Yes, you did amazing. I am good. Just you take care. Make sure that
No,
you
this is-
take care of those emotions. But it was fine. It's okay.
oh,
I am
fantastic. Fantastic. I think this was the kind of scene that was coming for a while for Reba's story, and I think this was a great point to put it in there, and it maybe impacts further decisions Rebus and the party will make later on, now that you're directly hired by this Nigel Farius, and one step closer to whatever is happening with all these objects that you have been gathering.
Also now I feel this is a point where Rebus is put in a position of like, yeah, there is a way you get your memories back, but do you really want to have them back at the full impact of the
Well,
bullshit?
The thing is, Rebus had decided kind of in the last episodes, maybe I don't care that much. Maybe this is the thing that has been driving me. Just find out who you are. And then it's like, maybe I'm just a new person now. And then Aurea appeared again at the inn, which they did not expect at all. And they're thrown again into this, okay, maybe I don't care because I just want to live my life as it is now because that is fair for me, but it's not fair for this other person. This other person, Aurea obviously has business still to resolve, and she has very strong emotions, and it's honestly my responsibility to take care of it. I can't just pretend like it didn't happen, because it did happen, even if it was someone else who did it. So here we are. I'm very happy that I got to be that vulnerable, and it's just, that's what Rebus would do. They are a barbarian, but they don't like violence, and they'd rather show their vulnerable side and pour their heart into it and show the truth and the honesty than play in the shadows. Like, that's just, they're a good boy, so
Yes, amazing. Very
it just
great.
made sense.
Perfect. All right. Well, that is one interesting place to end today's session. And we will be back next week. But before we head out for today and sleep in a mansion that has a lot of furniture still covered in blankets, I think we do have some announcements. And I am looking at Ida over here, who might be involved in a little something, maybe in few things.
Oh
Ida,
gosh.
would you like to update us on what is going on in the Ida-verse?
Ida is a masochist because whenever she hears the words charity and TTRPG, it's like, I'm there. On that note, on September 25th, Sunday, I do believe it is at 6 p.m. British summertime, BST. So that would be 1 in the afternoon Eastern time. I will be playing at Tavernot's channel, and we're going to play another episode of Masks. And what I did last week is we had a prequel game, and all these heroes are going to come together for one super long TTRPG-a-thon that Tavernot is going to run, and all the heroes are going to converge back into different sessions with different previous heroes for like a cinematic Marvel finish, and all to for the National Abortion Fund's charity as well. So it's for good cause. Donating unlocks things in the game as well. Like we're playing Masks Powered by Apocalypse, and you can unlock like a moment of truth kind of thing in the game. Like you can dictate how a player gets to narrate a scene, and in this case it was the least likely character doing the finishing blow. Was really amazing. So that's that, and I'll be quick because I'm rambling now. And I work for Roll for Good. Roll for Good is a European UK based TTRPG charity group. You hear it from me first. We have our GMs selected. We're getting confirmation, so players sign-ups will happen soon, TM, soon. And that is going to be, double checking, October 22nd, Saturday. A whole long European day, like 12, 13 hours of streams, all in the aid of Mermaids Gender, which is a UK-based organization that supports transgender youth, gives them information, gives their peers and community and parents and mentors information and how what are their legal options, how to safety information, and just offers like support and guidance on all youth who are gender diverse, who have questions, who need support living their best selves. Hit us up.
Yes, perfect. I put both the links to Tavernot's Twitter and to Roll for Good's Twitter into the chat. So check that out if you want to keep track of all the amazing stuff Ida is involved in as well. Any other announcements any people would like to share before we head out for today?
So I'm probably making the first official announcement of what is coming to our channel in the next month. First of all, we are planning like additional stream bi-weekly for Thursdays with our wonderful Amelia together. Stay tuned. We will make official posts about this one. And in November, we are bringing back the Shine a Light charity event, which this year will be for the organization One Earth, One Ocean. Or One Ocean or One Earth. Sorry, I forgot that right now. So, and who is doing a lot of effort to collect trash from the ocean to help clean the environment. And this is basically a very, very good cause for a lot of people on the whole world. So, and this is the project for this year. We are making, we are talking to some streamers right now who we are inviting for this, and yeah.
Basically, keep an eye on our socials and follow us on Twitter, check us on the Discord if you want to keep tabs on all of those upcoming things for our channel. And we're going to keep you informed there.
And did we mention that we are nominated for an award?
Casually. We casually dropped it.
Yeah, casually.
Did we say that? I don't know if we said that.
There was something in between the lines here. It's not like we would put it into a stream title or anything. That's it's not what we would do.
We will do that.
Exactly.
So self-absorbed.
Yeah,
Once again, thanks for the
totally.
nomination. Thanks very much.
Yeah,
Very
whoever did
exciting.
this.
All right, then. I think it is time for us to go sleep in a mansion and catch some rest. Because next week, we will be back. Same time,
Some
same
rest.
place. Let's get these people started on their 5th chapter and ride a train somewhere. Or whatever else way they want to go.
Nothing will totally
And-
happen on this train, right? We only just have to jump off it and at a rock.
Exactly.
Well, we
That-
have
how-
first class passes to like try everything, so I guess we can spend some time in the what's it called, the restaurant car, and just
Exactly.
Yeah.
eat, or I don't know.
So you're telling me we get a completely, just for fluff, really comfortable first class ride. There's gonna be a squeaky wheel or something. Better have cheese.
We will find out next
Rain gets to
week.
try the whole cheese selection for free,
Hey,
like
Griffo!
paid for on the house.
Griffo
we're-
is
we're-
late rating.
We're having a
No, it's-
little last minute raid, but still, thank you very much for the raid,
Oh,
Krifu, and
no!
everyone who's
He's
joining.
not late. He's exactly on
we-
time because we're happy to see him, and that's what
Exactly.
makes him on time.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the last minute raid here. We were currently
This
wrapping
episode
up,
was,
but
after all, called Good Timing, right? Or like correct timing? What was the title?
perfect timing is the title of chapter 5. So
Hey,
this is
there
perfect
we
timing
go.
anyway.
And
But
thank you, Guildmaster AXD as well for the raid as well. We
Yeah,
love seeing you
true.
around here.
yes, thanks everyone for hopping in there for the raids, for coming by, chatting with us, giving cat advantages, making people wear cat ears, and you can do all of that again next week as well here, same time, same place. Thank you, everyone. Thanks to my fantastic players for kicking off this session,
Thank you,
and
Marcus.
you are
Thank you,
welcome.
Marcus.
I
It was
I
an
live for
amazing
this,
session.
and we was gonna see all of you next week again. Take care, and see you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.